Ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-dum-dum. Welcome back, my friends. So good to see all of you again. Hope you're having a fantastic week. And today, we're going to be talking about mastering your mind and healing your trauma on your own. I was talking about this the other day on my podcast, and I brought up this story that completely transformed the way I see healing. I've done every healing modality. I've done Reiki, sound baths, meditation, therapy, EMDR, EFT. I've done all the healing principles, healing modalities. And I heard this story, and it absolutely changed my life. And I'm going to tell you guys this story because I want it to change your lives as well. So, and if you want to see the full podcast, you can click the link below. But essentially, there was this man, and he had cancer. I don't know the details. I don't know if he was stage 3, stage 4. He was dying. He had cancer. And he got into a significant car crash. He was in a coma, woke up from a coma, and he had amnesia. So he has amnesia, forgets everything. A couple months later, he goes in to his doctor because he gets a call. He's got to go into his doctor. And he's like, goes into his doctor, and his doctor does all these tests. And they're like, hey, you don't have cancer anymore. And he's like, I never had cancer. And that blew my mind. That changed everything for me. When I heard this story, it was proof. Proof is in the pudding. And if he could heal cancer, do you think that you can heal depression, anxiety, public speaking fear, any back pain? You can heal anything, right? And so when I heard this, I was like, wow, it was the click in my brain that I needed to hear. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this in his book called Becoming the Supernatural. I'll put a link in the bio as well. You can check that out on Amazon. I think it's like $14, but it's an absolutely amazing book. Will it change your life? Yes, if you follow the principles, just like any book. Is any book going to change your life? If you just read it and don't use it? No. But if you actually use everything he teaches in there, it will change your life. And he talks about the exact same stuff I'm telling you right now, and that is your subconscious reprogramming. And Dr. Joe Dispenza has a very similar story to the cancer patient, as where he was 24 years old, I believe, and he was on his bike, and he got hit by a bus. And he was paralyzed and broken back, and the doctor, sat him down and was like, hey, your life is going to completely change. You're not going to be able to work anymore, etc., etc. And he was in the neuroscience field, and, that was just like a huge hit to him. And he was like, okay, well, I don't want to get this surgery. I don't want to get all these bars put in my back. And he's like, I'm going to master my subconscious programming. And he did. He mastered his mind and completely healed himself. And there's countless, thousands and thousands of stories, if you read this book and you do research on subconscious reprogramming, of people getting rid of back pain, getting rid of anxiety, getting rid of anything just from their mind. You don't need any medications. I'm a prime example of that. My doctor a few months ago prescribed me Lexapro and Klonopin, which is an SSRI for anti-anxiety, and the Klonopin is like Xanax, a very numbing agent that helps you. It's kind of like putting a mask on your issues. It makes it more easy to manage the symptoms, so it lessens anxiety, lessens depression, etc. Never took a single pill. Didn't take one of either. And I was like, nope, I refuse to do it. And I don't know, that could be pride and ego, but I'm like, I'm not doing it. I know that I can heal this, and I know that I'm a very powerful person. And when you realize how powerful your mind is, and that you're a co-creator of this universe, of this world. You are a co-creator. Most people aren't co-creators, though. They let everyone else co-create for them. The opinions of others, the judgments of others. You know, someone says when you're a kid, hey, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, whatever it is. That becomes part of your subconscious programming, and then you always think you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, whatever it is. So you're really not being your true, authentic self. It's other people that have projected their own insecurities and their own traumas onto you. And so everyone else is co-creating your world. So once you realize how powerful your mind is and that you can heal any trauma, you become a co-creator of your world with God, the universe, source. And so back to what I was saying about the medications, I didn't want to take them. I was like, I'm not taking this. 10 years ago, I think it was more than 10 years, 13 years ago, I had taken Lexapro and Klonopin for severe anxiety, social anxiety. And I remember I took it for 9 months, and it made me just like a zombie. Like, I didn't have emotions. It got rid of the anxiety, but I was just like walking around like, I don't know, couldn't feel happy or sad. Like, it was just very, very numbing. And so after hearing this story, and I've done a lot of research on subconscious reprogramming and affirmations, I went down a rabbit hole, and I'm like, okay, let's figure this out. We can change the story that we're telling ourselves. And so my story that I was telling myself for my specific issue was, you know, I have this throat issue, had this throat issue. And when I was 4 years old, I choked on a fish stick. The bone got caught in my throat. And my mom was down the street at a neighbor's house, so there was no one there to save me, right? And this is one of my first childhood memories. And then I think when I was like 22, when I used to smoke a lot of weed, I was super high, and I was at a restaurant with my friend, and I choked on a burger. And that was a second choking incident. And then 10 years later, up till this past 3 years, never had another incident. And then I choked on a piece of chicken. And then from that point on, from that moment on 3 years ago, I started having all these choking issues, like all the time. And then it turned into, I couldn't go out to restaurants. I couldn't go out to eat. I just could not, because I choked in a restaurant. And that's like when everyone's around, and gives you PTSD. And so then it turned from that into full-blown anxiety to where I was just afraid to eat Greek yogurt, like the silliest things. And it changed my complete life for this past 3 years. And I've had multiple doctors tell me, oh, hey, okay, we're going to do this test. And it started out, they were like, oh, okay, you have acid reflux. And then they're like, oh, okay, it's a severe form of GERD. And they're like, oh, we found a hiatal hernia. And then it's like, oh, we're going to put you on these proton pump inhibitors and reduce your acid to heal your throat. And I did all these different things, and all these doctors are telling me these things, right? And what ended up happening from that was I got health anxiety. So I was always Googling all these symptoms every night, which is like the worst thing you can do. Wikipedia is like, oh, yeah, maybe because of the GERD you have this, and you can get Barrett's esophagus, and that can be precancerous, and blah, 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 blah. And my mind would go down this rabbit hole, and then I would think, I'm like, oh, maybe I have cancer, maybe I have this. And it's building all from that story of the fish stick when I was 4 years old. The whole, all linked together from that one story of not feeling safe. So in this past couple months, I was like, I'm sick of this. I'm just done. Like, I'm done. I'm going to heal. After I heard that cancer story about the man who had cancer and then forgot he had cancer and it went away. And then researching about all these other people and Joe Dispenza's methods and how to reprogram your subconscious mind, I was like, man, we could use this for anything. And as you guys know, when I first started this channel, it was primarily talking about narcissists and toxic relationships. You can heal the trauma you have with or from the narcissist. You can stop ruminating about the narcissist, and you can live your own life by using what I'm about to tell you. because it is so life-changing. And yes, it's like it's the simplest thing, but most people have so much going on in their mind. It's so cluttered all over that it's really hard to focus. So whatever your trauma is, if you're watching this, if you're from my previous channel of all narcissism, empath, that dynamic, if you have, ruminating thoughts, you're constantly still thinking about the ex-narcissist, has been 6 months, a year, 5 years, whatever, you can get rid of that from this method. I highly recommend you check out that book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, Becoming the Supernatural. It will help you. And so let's get into it. I'm going to explain to you exactly what I did to heal my trauma and how you can utilize the same methodology and become the best version of yourself. No longer have anxiety, depression, have fear, have phobias, how to sleep really well every single night, how to still have caffeine without getting anxiety. It literally can change everything. When you master this, everything changes. Everything changes. Your whole life changes. Your whole world, your whole existence, everything changes. So, how do we do this? The law of assumption. And I've talked about this in other videos. There's many laws of the universe. Most people know about the law of attraction, or the movie and the book, The Secret. The law of assumption states that if you can feel it now, it is yours. So what does that mean? That means if you can live in the belief that you are already healed, that you are already a millionaire, that you are already financially free, that you are confident, that you are smart, whatever it is, if you can live in that feeling right now, it's going to be yours. It's going to come to you. You're going to manifest that into reality. Because again, it's a story. Everything is a story in our mind. We tell ourselves all these stories. So you change the story. If you want to be a millionaire, all you have to do is feel like a millionaire. It's so simple. I can attest for this. It is so simple. But most people are going to say, that's woo-woo. Look at the cancer patient. He believed he didn't have cancer. He didn't have cancer. Our minds are so powerful. Will Smith has a great quote. I don't know if he said it, but I heard him say it one time, and he said, most people that say they can are usually right. And most people that say I can't are always right. Because it's all in our mind. If you say you can do something, usually you're going to be able to do it. If you say you can't do something, you're never going to be able to do it. Our minds are so powerful. So what I did with using what I learned from the subconscious reprogramming in Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, as well as the law of assumption, which is they're almost identical. It's the same concept. But you need to change the stories that you've been telling yourself your entire life. So when you go to bed at night, during the daytime, our brain waves are in the alpha brain state. When we go to sleep at night, they switch into theta. During the day, you're in your conscious. At nighttime, you switch into the subconscious. That's where all the programming is, in the subconscious. So if you want to reprogram your mind, the last 5 minutes before you fall asleep and the first 5 minutes when you wake up, when your brain is switching over into the different states, you want to create a visualization, 30-second visualization clip in your mind of how you want your life to be, what you want in it, whatever your trauma is, how you want to get rid of it. So for example, for me, how my visualization looked, I visualized myself in Italy or France or Germany. I change it around sometimes. And I'll be out at a restaurant and I'll be eating chicken parm, or I'll be eating like a barbecue brisket burger, or I'll be eating spaghetti and meatballs, or I'll be eating a steak. And these are all things that I was not able to eat for 3 years because of my throat. And so I'll be eating these things, and I'll be feeling, while I'm falling asleep and in the morning, I'll feel what it feels like to be sitting there at a restaurant with crowded people, loud, what it would feel like to be completely calm, to be completely peaceful, and enjoy the meal and not be thinking about how many chews do I have to do? How do I have to break down the food? Do I have to take a sip of water after every bite? Not thinking about any of that. I'm thinking about what would it feel like to just be eating there and to be present in the moment. And I feel that feeling. And every time I do this at nighttime, a smile will come across my face. And depending on what I'm eating, I'll say, like out loud, like while I'm like falling asleep, and I'm be smiling because I haven't had that for 3 years. So I'll visualize that and I'll feel it. And I'll truly believe that I'm there. I'm in that moment. That's my current reality. And when you program that into your subconscious, you fall asleep, it's going to become part of your normal programming. If you were made fun of for being fat, for example, and you think you're fat, and you say it out loud, or people say that to you, before you go to bed, think about, visualize a clip of yourself being skinny, being lean, and feel what that would feel like. What would it feel like to be skinny, to be lean? And feel that feeling. And if you feel that, that's all you need to do. It's already done. Everything's already happened. Because now you're going to have that feeling built into your subconscious programming. You're going to start going to the gym. You're going to start eating healthier. You're going to start actually losing weight. You don't have to worry about the how. Don't worry about the how. It's going to happen. You don't have to think about the how. When you believe that it's already happened, the how is irrelevant. Doesn't matter how. It's the same thing with money. The way I use the visualization, the subconscious reprogramming with money, is I always wanted to have passive income and to be financially free, to never work for someone. I haven't worked for someone for 5 years. But I wanted to take it a step further and be passively free to where I could not work if I don't want to for the rest of my life. So I added into my visualization, when I'm out in Italy, France, wherever, eating an amazing meal, I'll get a notification on my phone, and it'll be like $17,634 deposited in your bank account. And I'll be eating, I'll look at my phone and I'll see my bank account and I'll see the actual number and I'll see the deposit of 17 grand, 12 grand, 14 grand, 72,000. I'll see all these numbers. And that's how I became financially free. Because I visualized it, I believed it, and I felt the feeling of what that would feel like. What would that feel like? That would feel like I have security, that I don't need to worry, that every time I go get groceries or I go out to eat, I don't look at what things cost. What would that feel like? And I live in that feeling. It will naturally come into place. Do this 5 minutes before you go to sleep and the 5 minutes when you wake up. To take it a step further, during the day, use affirmations. Because we have 65 to 75,000 thoughts every single day, and 90% of them are negative and on repeat. Can you account for 65 to 75,000 thoughts you have? Can you think about all those thoughts in a day? No. It's in the subconscious reprogramming. You might catch, 100, 200 throughout the day. But once you start having self-awareness and you start taking accountability and really seeing how your mind is working and the thoughts that come up, then you learn to alchemize. So when you can alchemize, that's turning a negative into a positive. And I'm a human being just like everyone else. You're not going to just have 100%, 75,000 positive thoughts in a day. It's never going to happen. But when a negative thought does come up, when you can catch it and not react, same thing in a toxic relationship after narcissistic abuse, when you don't react, you take away the power, you take away the story. So when you have a negative thought, for example, the other day someone cut me off, I had about half a second where I was like, nah, it's okay. I don't know their story. I don't know what's going on in their life. I don't know if they lost their job. I don't know. I don't know their story. They have a story. but why am I going to let their story affect my story? So as soon as you start catching on, and throughout the day, whenever something happens, you get a paper cut. This happened to me last week. I got a cut on my finger, opening a cardboard box, and it was a bad one. Blood squirted out, and I was like, it's okay. Like, it was like the pain came in, and it was like I almost wanted to throw the box, but I've done a lot of the work, so I recognized it immediately, and I was like, it's okay. And I was fine. I didn't react to it. Because what happens when you feed negativity, it grows. When you have a negative thought, what usually happens? People spiral. They grab onto that thought, latch on, and then it pulls you in down to other negative thoughts. Then you ruminate. Same thing happens in toxic relationships. Oh, they did this to me. And you think about that. Then it goes to this and this and this and this and this. And then you lower your frequency. You've lowered your vibration. On an energetic plane, you are now much, much lower. You're not going to be able to manifest, live your best life. I'll talk about frequencies and vibrations and energy in another video, but when you start alchemizing, when you start turning negatives into positive, what you're going to start to see is a life of abundancy. Because now you've raised your frequency, you've raised your energetic vibration. When a negative thing happens, that negative thing doesn't lower you. You alchemize that and turn it into a positive. And then you raise up. And if you do that, you're signaling to the universe, to God, to source, that you're ready for more, that you're ready for more to come in. So when you can transmute all of those negatives, you're going to become very, very abundant. You're going to start seeing a lot more great things happen in your life. If something negative happens and then you latch on, what are you going to see? More negatives will come into your life. What always happens? You get a flat tire and then you're all pissed off, right? You're angry. And then because you're angry, something else happens. Then you get a call saying, oh, hey, my daughter's skip school or whatever. Or then your boss says, hey, I want you to stay overtime. You can't go on vacation. Like, it just keeps on going, right? Because you've lowered your vibration, energetic frequency. You grabbed onto that negative and more negatives came. It's the same thing with these stories and what I'm telling you about the law of assumption. When you start visualizing every single day at nighttime and before you go to bed, the life you want to have, and you feel what it feels like, it's going to transmute your energy levels into a new existence. It's called quantum jumping, which I'll do another video on that. But you're changing your reality timeline. You're hopping onto a new timeline. So before we finish this video, I'm going to tell you the little add-ons that I do that I've learned with the subconscious reprogram from Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, and everything I've learned and put it all together. So I do the visualization at nighttime and in the morning. Then in the morning, I also do gratitude. Gratitude is a very, very powerful manifester, because when you can become grateful for the smallest things in your life, you are signaling to the universe that you are happy in your journey and you're not looking towards the destination, because most people live in the destination. I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when I get a six-pack. I'll be happy when I get $1 million. I'll be happy when I'm making $10,000 a month. I'll be happy when I get the new car. You're living in the future. You're not living in the present moment. So when you can become grateful, gratitude puts you in the present moment and grounds you. So you become grateful. Say, I'm grateful to not be in a wheelchair. The simplest things. I'm grateful that I have a bed to sleep in. I'm grateful that I can afford groceries. The simplest things. That takes away so much anxiety and depression on its own. On its own. So I'll do the gratitude journal in the morning, and then I'll do affirmations throughout the entire day. I'll write down like 15 to 25 affirmations in the morning, in the afternoon, and then at nighttime as well. And then on top of that, during the day, I will just, if I'm driving, I'll just say my affirmations in my head over and over, and I'll feel what it feels like. We take exactly what we're doing with the visualization at nighttime in the morning, the feeling of being a millionaire or being lean or having the dream job or whatever it is, or not having trauma or not ruminating about someone. You take that feeling and you say it in your affirmations and feel what it would feel like. So, for example, for me, when I'm driving or even if I'm just sitting around, I'll say, I am healthy. I am calm. I am peaceful. And I am states past, present, and future, because I am is signaling now. It's not something that has happened or is going to happen or is in the past. It's now. It's right now. When you say I am, you're saying I am healthy right now. So it's the same thing. If you want to say you're a money magnet, you'd say I am wealthy. I am rich. I am financially free. Repeat that over and over and over. And then you take that a step further. After I write that a few times, I'll say I feel healthy. I feel calm. I feel peaceful. When you link the emotion and the feeling to the words, it becomes 10 times more powerful. And this is what I used to completely change my life. And I know for a fact it will work 100%, not 99%, 100%. If you do it for 21 days, it will change your life. It takes 21 days to make or break a habit. It's proven. Quitting smoking, stopping drinking, whatever it is, 21 days to make or break a habit. After 21 days of going to the gym, most people continue to go to the gym. If you go to the gym for a week, week and a half, and stop, it's not a habit now. You have to make this a habit. It has to become your new reality. Once you shift onto a different timeline, you're going to see that you're going to become more abundant. You're not going to have anxiety. You're not going to have depression. You're going to get rid of your fears, your phobias. And all you want to do is move that needle a little bit every single time. You're not going to do this one night and wake up the next day and be like, I'm completely healed. No, you just want to move the needle a little bit. And over time, it's going to be gradual, but eventually you're going to be a completely different person. So I hope this helped you guys. Feel free to comment on this. Let me know if you have any questions. I am so grateful for all of you, and I know that this will help someone out there. So until next time, I will talk to you guys tomorrow or the next day, sometime. Enjoy the day. Stay safe. Stay healthy.